This morning, we wanted to do something just a little bit different. As you notice down front, we have a picture of Jeffrey Allen Kocab, who was killed 6/29/2010, 2:15 in the morning. He was called to back up another officer, and Officer Curtis, just a routine call. Man's license plate was unable to be read, and so once they started running the numbers, Dante Morris, 24 years of age, was in the car, and they had some minor convictions on him, but they pulled him out of the car, began to look at the car, and he pulled out a gun and shot and killed both of those officers. Kocab was killed immediately, and his wife was expecting. Some of y'all know that story. And she was supposed to be with us today, and was torn between conflicts. Actually, the downtown is having another event, and so she determined to go to that one. She was coming to this one up until Wednesday. She was just going back and forth. But I was assigned as a chaplain to Kocab's family, and so I went down there, met with his parents, and at the hospital sat with them and prayed with them, went in with Sarah and had a word of prayer with her. The good thing about Mr. Kocab was this: he was prepared for that event. You say, well, what do you mean? Did he have a vest on? Yes, he had a vest on. Did he have a helmet on? No, he didn't. Well, apparently he wasn't, well equipped. Yes, he was, because he had his soul ready. He was a believer. And his wife, I remember going in, and her pastor and pastor's wife there, the hospital, and having a word with the pastor there, Jeff Howell is his name, and praying with Sarah just briefly and seeing her there in the hospital bed. And one of the great struggles with Sarah is that she couldn't find his Bible. And, to a wife, that Bible's, if it was important to him, it was important to her. And so I remember that day at the funeral, they finally found his Bible. His Bible was in his police car. And I remember talking to his pastor, and his pastor says, every time I'd ride along with him, I'd see his Bible. It was on the dash. And he says it was just common for him whenever we'd pull over and something like that he'd pick up his Bible and he'd read his Bible. And I thought about Mr. Kocab, Officer Kocab, that he wore his badge, but he carried his Bible. And that has been a great testimony with the police department, and has gone throughout the divisions of Jeffrey Kocab. And this morning we have his Bible, and his wife was kind enough to allow us to have his badge with us today. And I'm going to present something to Southside Baptist Church, something called the Kocab Project. You say, well, what's the Kocab Project? Well, I believe this. I believe that every officer ought to have a New Testament. And so we are going to vote on it today, that we're going to have New Testaments made for all of our first responders, police officers, and firemen in the Tampa Bay area that serve for the Tampa Police and Tampa Fire. And I think that'll be a great inroad, and we will dedicate those and give those to the officers and firefighters in the memory of Jeffrey Kocab, who already has a testimony that he wore his badge and he carried his Bible. And all in favor of doing that, would you say amen? Amen. And so I've already talked to a couple of the majors and shared the idea, and they think it's a great idea. But I thought today on 9/11, out of this tragedy, I thought it would be great. I guarantee you that he's in heaven, and the greatest thing that he'd like to see is for the other police officers that served with him to know more about Christ. And I'm sure that they saw this guy get into his car and many times take a computer and gun and other things, but I guarantee you those guys, they watch each other. They saw him carry a Bible. they knew something. They knew the language was different with Jeffrey Kocab when he got into his car and when you rode with him and when you called him, that the language was just going to be different. Those things stand out. And so this morning, want to introduce to you something that we'll be doing, the Kocab project, and I'm excited about that. Well, let's grab our songbooks. It's been a great day, amen.